Buenos dias, Craig. Thank you for joining us today at Business Spotlight Series. Today, I'm excited to introduce Craig Woods, Managing Director at Bridge Door Systems Northeast. They are the real experts in the industrial door and gate industry. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Now, Craig, I'm very excited to know a bit more about what you do and for how long you've been doing it.
How long have you got? So basically, I started out as a joiner, apprentice joiner, so served my apprenticeship, and then moved on to obviously joinery. And then my father-in-law worked for a company called Amber Doors. He needed a door engineer. Asked me if I'd be interested. Give it a go. So started at Amber Doors in 1999. I was there for a couple of years, and then we moved over to Ascot Doors.
Yeah.
And Ascot Doors, I was there for 12 years. Started as an engineer and worked up. I finished up as area manager for the Northeast. They were then bought out. We got headhunted to go to another company. I was at Arrow for 6 years, 6 very successful years. And then again, I was approached by Bridge, and the rest history. I'm now at Bridge, and it's going really, really well. Looking forward to the next progression, see where it takes us.
Brilliant. So you've been headhunted a few times, so you must be
Well,
doing right.
once or twice.
Brilliant. And what's how do you find the transition, to become a managing director?
Well, you get to, at the minute when I first started that, it's literally just got dropped in it. So literally, you drop like what do we do? Fortunate for me, I've got a really, really good team around me. I couldn't do it without them. Anybody that tells you that's in my position to say I've done this, I've done that, telling you a load of lies. You can only do it if you've got a good team around you. And I've got a cracking team around me, from Michelle in the front office to Becky that does the accounts, to Keith that does the surveying, engineers. Couldn't do it without them. So if anybody says anything different, no, that's not the case at all.
Well, that's the attribute of a leader, to give the credit to his team. So yeah, it's
So they are, as I say, I couldn't do it without them. I'd be telling you lies if I was to say I could, because I can't.
yeah. How do you you joined the business just after COVID, or?
It was just after COVID. I joined just after COVID, and to be honest, COVID. I know it sounds strange, but COVID did us a favor because
Yeah.
business just
Boom.
blew up. It grew instantly.
Yes.
Obviously, the customers that we had, the client base that we had, and we've still got, could not operate without the doors, such as your MODs, your blue lights, your distribution warehouses, your Yodels, your DHLs. Their doors are imperative. If they've got to work, if they don't work, they can't operate.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And it was more, we built a better relationship during that time because not everybody was at work. So you deal with maybe 1 or 2 people at most from different sites, where normally there might be 5 or 6 different people on a site.
Yes.
So it was more one-to-one.
Yes.
So you built that relationship up, which has continued, and it's still going strong now.
Yes. Yeah. You mentioned before that the door, I never thought of it that way, but the door is the first thing I open when I go to work, and the last thing I close when I go home.
That's right.
So yeah.
So I always say is anybody that goes to work goes through a door.
Yes.
At some point, that door will need fixing. We'll get you in that building on a Monday morning at 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and we'll close that building up for you on a Friday night when you want to go home and you can't lock your building up. But then again, if your lads get caught, if you need to get in your building on a weekend and there's a power cut, again, we'll get you in that building. We operate 24/7, 365 days a year. No job too small, no job too big. Anything from a steel door to an airplane hangar door, we can look after for you.
Brilliant. we were talking about earlier about recruitment and how do you find recruitment? Obviously, you said that engineers are key for the success of your business. Good.
Engineers are the key, because at the end of the day, engineers are the first, sometimes they're the first people a new client will see. Now, getting good engineers is the hard bit. The harder bit is keeping hold of them good engineers. You've got to look after them. If you don't look after them, they go. But there's plenty of engineers out there, but there's a lot of dipsticks as well. And I mean that in a nice way. I'm not saying that, but they're not the face of what you want them to be. And I mean that again, I mean that in a nice way. They are, when the engineers go on site, they represent Bridge Doors, they represent Craig Woods, they represent Bridge as a whole. It's not just, well, I'm Tom from Bridge, and you go on and you look like a scrap man. You've got to look presentable. You've got to have a nice clean van. Look, and you've got to be nice. You've got to be able to talk to your clients. And the key is keeping all of them engineers.
Yes.
That's the thing.
I think you mentioned that many people look at the van, and if the van is in good nick and tight and so on, that gives you it gives you you trust the person, right? If it's a mess, or what type of job are they going to do in my house or in my building?
Yeah.
Little things.
You turn up looking like a scrap man, you think, who have I got here? Who's come to look at my door?
Yes.
It's like, oh.
Yes. Okay. What is the biggest challenge that you find in your industry?
There's a lot of companies out there that don't stick to regulations. And I want to go home on a Friday night and rest easy and go to sleep, not thinking about, well, I cut a corner there on that one, and I cut a corner there on that one. Do it right. But there's too many one-man bands out there that literally will go out there and buy the work, but not do it correctly. The problem you've got is the end user won't know until something fails, and then they get the experts out, they look at it and say, well, that shouldn't have been like that, that shouldn't have been like that. And they say, well, can you fix it? Yeah, but it'll cost you X, Y, Z. Well, I've just paid to have that door done.
Yes.
But there's a reason why it's failed. There's a lot of people out there, one-man bands, that literally they just want to make a living. They're not interested in next week or the week after. They just want this week's money.
Yeah. So what would you recommend to prospective customers who want to buy doors, gates, and they don't want to be done by a con man, if you like?
Yeah. Give me a
Is there
ring.
any way they can prevent that, like certification, or I don't know?
Yeah, everything such as automatic doors on the front of shops when you walk towards them. Yeah, engineers got to be 16005 approved. It's a standard. Then you've got your gates. They're up to a standard. All doors now, roller shutters, things like that. You've got to have your gate, your door diploma. You've got to have NVQs to work on them. When they fit, there's a lot of companies out there will fit doors with no safety brakes. It's things like that where they've got to comply to a level. But again, one-man band, your cowboys, they'll just fit you a door.
Yeah.
But you won't be able to tell because everything's hidden.
Yes.
And then, but everything's got to comply to a standard. I mean, we've got the likes of the standards we've got such as like things we go to. We've got DHF, we've got Construction Line Gold, we've got SMAS. All the engineers are NVQ'd, CSCS, they've got IPAF. We've registered with Safe Contractor. We've got them all. Look for somebody that's like that. Don't just go with. People say, "Why it was 50 quid." Yeah, it was 50 quid for a reason.
Yes.
When it falls off the wall,
yeah,
you'll realize why it was 50 quid.
It falls for a reason as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I always like to think, I will give you the right job for the right price, won't take your eyes out, and I'll look after you.
Yes.
And when you want another one, I know you'll come back to me.
Yes, yes. Now, tell me, Craig, what would you advise to people who have been promoted to the MD, and they are MD for the first time, what would you suggest, or somebody who has been given, okay, do we like to become the MD, and they are kind of thinking, what would you recommend to them? What advice would you give them?
Make sure you've got a good team around you. At the end of the day, you sit up there in your ivory tower, the same as me, sit up there in your ivory tower. It's the people you rely on that's underneath you.
Yes.
If they're not looked after, they're not going to do the right job for you.
Yes.
And then you won't be in that managing director's role for much longer.
Yes.
So make sure you look after everybody.
So if you are within the company and you are given that role, you know the team, okay? But if you are headhunted and you go to a business that you you don't know, so how do you know that you are going to get a good team to support you?
Well, you've got to go into it. You're looking at what they do, how it's done. You're looking at procedures. I mean, I can go now. I can go into the systems. You can see everything. You can see what people are doing. But you've just got to build that level of trust as well, and you've got to allow people to do the job.
Yes.
And then you can't go in just guns blazing and say, right, that's it. You're not doing that no more. You're not doing that no more. We need to do this, this, this. Unless you've been there 6, 8, 9, 10 months, looked at it, and then taken it all in. If you go in a month and think, right, well, you're not work, you're not work, you're not work. Get rid of you, we get rid of you, get rid of you.
Yes.
You're just digging a hole for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Well, in your case, you came through the industry, and I guess Philip and Nick, they knew of you, so you already knew them before taking the role.
Yeah, yeah. I'd never actually met them. I knew them, but never actually met them.
Okay.
But again, both good guys, really, really knowledgeable. Both started out as engineers as well. So they know, a bit like me, started from the bottom, worked the
Yes.
will.
Yeah.
Which is good because I don't know everything. They don't know everything, but it's good to have somebody else to talk to.
Yes. As a team, you kind of know most things, yeah? As a
Yeah,
team, yeah.
it's not very often we get stuck. And
Yeah.
even if we do get stuck, there's
Work
other
it out.
Yeah,
Work it out, yeah.
yeah.
Brilliant. So just to wrap up, Craig, do you have any advice for your 18-year-old self?
18-year-old, if I was doing it again, what would I change? Nothing, to be honest. I would do exactly what I did. I love joinery, and if I know I've said it a million times. I love doing joinery, but there's just not enough money in joinery. So for me to do what I want to do, if somebody gives you the opportunity to grow within a company, you snatch that hand off, and you've got to want to progress. Just stick in. As I tell my son now, who's 22, he's just finishing his degree. Stick in, do it. If there's an opportunity comes and you're in two minds, have a think about it. But if it could be beneficial, grab it with both hands.
Yeah.
Get all of it and make a success of it. Don't just sit back on your laurels.
And you love joinery, so it's an industry you love, and you've grown through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent. Is there any news you want to share with people watching this recording? Any plans, expansion plans, or promotions you have, or something?
We've just had a turnaround in this branch. We're looking to open another branch within the next 2 to 3 months. So Keith, who's my surveyor, he's been promoted. He's now going to be the branch manager. He's going to look after this. We're going to move. We're going to open it in another location further down the country. Watch this space for the area and whatnot without giving too much away. But it's grown, and we want to be there. We want to be. I don't say we want to be the best. I'm not going to say we're the worst, but we want to be the company that people would ring up and know they're going to get a good service.
Yes.
That's Bridge Doors.
You want to get it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Craig, it's been a real pleasure having you join us at Business Spotlights, and for sharing your experience with us today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.